Hello, in this video, we'll begin our next unit on probability. This is a topic I especially like because it's fun for gaming. I like playing board games, and a lot of analysis on strategy comes from probabilities. So, how do we find probabilities? I contend if you know how to count, you know how to find a probability. And we can see this from seeing the connection between counting the number of ways something can occur and an event. How does this come about? Okay, when we're measuring events that can be measured as they occur or they don't, they're called discrete events. Or we could say there's a whole number of different outcomes. The probability of a given outcome is calculated by counting the number of ways in which our desired event occurs, dividing by the total number of possible outcomes. So I think you intuitively know this. So if you roll one die, what is the probability of getting a 6? So if A is rolling a 6, how many different ways does A occur? There's only one side of the dice that has a 6 on it. Out of the total number of outcomes, what dice has? The die has 6 sides, so 1/6 is the probability of getting a 6. Okay, so now let's step it up. What if you're rolling 2 dice? What's the probability of getting a sum of a 6? So we'll call that event A, rolling a sum of 6. So the way to find that probability is ways A occurs. So how many ways can A occur? Let's count. So we're rolling 2 dice. One way that it can occur is you roll a 1 and a 5. That adds up to a 6. Another way you could do it is a 2 and a 3. That adds up to a 6. Oh, that's not right. 2 and a 4 adds up to a 6. So there's a way, that's one way, 2 ways. Third way, you could maybe do 3 and 3, okay? Or fourth way would be you actually roll the 4 first and then you get a 2. That adds up to a 6. Then a fifth way is you roll a 5 and then you roll 1. So ways that A can occur, there's 6 of them. 6 ways that our event, no, not 6, 5. If I can count, 5 ways A can occur. And we divide by total number outcomes. How many ways can you roll a 6-sided dice or a pair of dice? This is a little more counting, but if we can abstract and realize there's 6 ways for first die and 6 ways for second, this makes what would look like a table. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 6. Is it if this is the first and maybe this is the second? And you can see by this, we have a square that's 6 by 6. So inside, there should be 36 possible outcomes. So the total number of outcomes is 36. So 5 divided by 36 is the outcome for the probability of rolling a sum of a 6. So we see now that if you can count, you can find a probability. And from that basic assumption, there's some rules that can make finding more complicated events easier. So the first one is complementary events. Someone is your complement if they match you, if they make you whole. So a complementary event is something that is the opposite of event. It makes accounts for all possible events. So you could think of A occurring or not occurring. Those are the two possible outcomes. And the interesting thing about complementary events, probability of A plus, and we call the complementary event A complement, AC like that. This accounts for all possible options. So this probability has to be 1. So that's a nice rule. Okay, probability event plus its complement is 1. So that means if you want to find one or the other, you can use one to find the other, basically. So let's look at the example of this. What is the probability of not getting a 6? Okay, we found if A is rolling 6 for the first example, a complement would be not rolling a 6. So we could find the probability of A complement using this rule, 1 minus 1/6, or 5/6. Or if you're rolling 2 dice, what's the probability of not rolling a 6? So again, we'll make A complement not rolling a 6 a sum of 6 for the 2 dice. So the probability of A complement is 1 minus the probability of A, which we found before to be 5/36. So 31/36. So that's just a simple example of how you can use counting and one rule to find really a lot of different probabilities. The next step to calculate probabilities is finding more fancy ways to count. So I will stop here with this video and we'll cover more ways to count more complicated events in the next video.